basically, alternating here. And here's where we stopped. On page Tafkuf Nun Tes, we read just the top part. Let's go through the Tiv. The Tiv, let's see, starts on number Sadi Zion. Here it is, right at the top of the page. Let me see if I got it. Yeah. Hiyoshim Stasach Monim. So that is stated at the beginning over there in the Pitum Ketoris. He says that Tam Sheba Ketoris Sarakli Hiyosh Shlosh Mei Vishish Mishmonim Monim. So I'm assuming that, I think I had to read this a second time yesterday, so I'm assuming that these are actually components of the 11 spices. Some in there, and he goes through different counts. So he said, but Gavonas Atam Shinim the Tefillin Shorosh. We're talking about the Shinim and the Tefillin Shorosh. 3 complete Sheva Roshim. So there are 4 on let's say Shlosh Roshim B'Shinjim Mitzad Yamim. And then there's 4 of them Roshim besides B'Shin on the side small. V'Sham B'Bir Rav Atam. Over there the Rav explains the reason. So Shaar Sheyira B'Getara Shasach Monim. Why it had to be 368 different types inside in the Simonim themselves, in the Kedaris themselves. So he said, "V'gam Ramos Echa Kedaris Romezes al the Mochin the Kadnes." So and then what does it have to do with the Mochin the Kadnes? And I was just saying yesterday, we're dealing with continents at the time what we say Kedaris. I never really thought about that, but that's what he's saying. He said, the Kadnes Hem Shemos Shal Elokim. So that's the first thing we need to know. Elokim b'middle Yudin Kazeh. So you spell it out like this. It comes to the gematria Mizbar Shlosh Meos of 300. Then he says like this. So you got 300. Then he says now that you got 300. 300 is the letter Shin. So then you take the Shin and you make it the middle Kazeh Shin Yud Nun, and then you old gematria Shas, which is 360. Who Mizbar Shlosh Meos V'Shishim. V'mitzarfim gam as arba b'mochim shal zun. So if you add in also the mochim that are coming into zun, I'm not sure exactly relationship between this, but let's see how he says it, the gematria, and then he said bringing in 4 mochim, shehem chachma obida v'chasad the das gevurz the das hare hem od arba, that gives you 4 more. Gam mitzarfim od shlosh shehem nai the ima. So you add another, and then you got 367. So he said, "Benai the ima mislavshim arba mochem b'seder hazeh." So he says that again. I don't see the mechanism how these two are working together yet. I understand what he's saying. He says, "A chochma b'slavish b'netza chochma is b'slavish and b'bina b'slavish b'hod v'chasana b'gavurus the das shnechem b'slavshim b'yisod." So all in the yisod. Well, I'm not sure what he's telling me. He's telling me. Okay, I'm trying to understand. You're trying to get to the number 368, and it's not 100% clear where this is coming from because you had 11 simonim. Now you have 368 different parts to them. Tzaref od echad keneged hakolo. So then you could have another one. Hare heim shasach v'yachdav heim olim shasach. He said the mizbar shlosh mei b'shish mishmona, like it says in the Ketoris, in the Pitum Ketoris, in the Brisa. Shehem Shlosh Me'el V'Shishim Hamramasa the Shem Elokim. And what are we getting out of this to let us know that we're dealing in Katniss, and that the operant word there is Elokim. The Elokim, the Yudin Shuhu B'Gematria Shin Yud Nun B'Muluch Shuhu Shas V'Od Shmona Heim Arba B'Mochim V'Shlosh Danai. That's how you get that. Again, I'm not sure. So if I said that the 368 is the components of the 11 simonim, then I have to think of how it is that this works together. That you have these components, and let's go on. Let me see if I can find it. So that now we understand the secret of why they had those, because they're based on the name Elokim in the Miloi, Elokim, adding onto it the four Mochin and the Nai, which holds the four Mochin. All of this which goes into Zeir Anpin. Again, not 100% clear how this path works. Hatam Ku Lefi Shemina Mochim Shel Zaman Katnas Shehim Shemus Elokim Nimshachim. So we got a little interruption here, a little break. Get back to. Just waiting a second. Here it comes back again. Okay, back again. So he says, Shehem Shemus Elokim, Nimshachim Bechema Echad Asis Simonim HaKeteres. So these Elokim is where, I guess, if you go deeper into it, this is the words of Nimshachim Bechem HaEchad Asis Simamene HaKeteres. So this all comes out of the 368. Hamochin Zman HaKatas, Shehem Shemus Shel Elokim, and going over it again, Nimshachim El Echad Asis Simonim HaKeteres. So that's what it is. He says this Elokim comes in somehow into the Keteros. Maybe we'll figure out exactly how this works. V'hem na'asim oros ruchnim m'chayim b'sakali. So once again, his words are the name Elokim. We understand Elokim and its nature. Nimshachem ala echad asis samam and Keteros. They get extended down to there. V'hem na'asim oros ruchnim m'chayim b'sakali. That's what happens then. He said, and this is where we see this from other places. This name is where the Kali actually gets a hold of that, because that name, Elokim, which is continence, is ripe for picking by the Kali. So he says that this is the root. The root is the name Elokim. Elokim, he develops into 368, Shehem Shasach Manim Hamachayim Esakali. Let's go on a little bit more, try to piece this together. So we see that the Elokim manifests itself as it comes into where? The Zeir Anpin, because he's saying another thing too. Is that the way that we understand godless and how it spreads throughout the body of Zeir Anpin, the same thing is true of continence. I guess it works the same way. That's what I'm thinking. So let's go over here and let's see what else he says. Gam etzem makali nekroim Elohim acherim. Machmer sheyenikasem he me'elokim de kedusha. And the reason why is because, and I see this where they pronounce the word, they have the word, this is right to our pronunciation. Over here they put the word Elokim, the Kedusha. So let me read again. He said, Gam etzem makala nekroim Elohim acherim. Machmer shenikasim Elokim, the Kedusha, because they live off of that. Hanem shachem be'echad asis simonim shel HaKeteros, which all of these Elokim then get pulled in as a result of the simonim of the Keteros. So he's telling you the inside, a little insight into how the Keteros can perfect the problems of continence. Yesh lecha kavana nosefes al sheva reishim sheyesh lecha b'shtei chashinim shal teferes harosh. Now there's another way that you could do this by taking the 7 roshim of the shinim, that's on the tefillah sharos. Sheva roshim ameramazim al sheva bechinas oros shal amochin degad dezah. So here, let's take this way of understanding it. They relate to the the mochin of God, the sheva bechinas oros shalamochin de God the zah. So Sheva roshim sheyeshna b'tefillin shal roshi explains romazim ala arba mochin de Godus. They were talking about the 4 mochin de Godus shehem choch b'bina chesed de gevura. The other shlosh, and so how do you get to 7? Refers to Netzach Hod Yisod the Imach Hamalabeshus as a mochin, which is covering over the mochin. So he says, so then what happens then? Be'imit sarfim as the sheva oros anal. So if you take these 7 and you join them together, shehem arba b'mochin degada b'shlosh nai im Hashem shel Elokim, and then put that together, those 7 together with the Elohim b'milu yudin she'ol b'gematrik mitzvashin, which we said before. Now you have 360 and 7. Shazu ha'shin b'milua ola b'gematria shas. Okay, just playing it out again. Mosifin od echod keneged the kolo, then you add the kolo and harehem olam yachda b'gematria shasach. V'hem kamizbar shasach manim shahoyu b'ketoros. Now, actually, because I had made up an explanation of why we're dealing with continence here, but over in this explanation, he's talking about godless. So 360, which is an Elokim, plus Mochin the godless, and the levush of the Mochin the godless, and a kolel. Would put them together. What do you get? But what's he doing? How do we get this godless in here? Not sure I have a good explanation. Okay, we'll hold for a second, and maybe God will enlighten me with God's help in these difficult times. Okay, so therefore, B'ketoros yeshnon shnei madregos. When we talk about this, and what he wants to say, try to straighten me out here. So now he wants to say it like this, Akatoros rather. He wants to say that the 365, which are the days of the year, the Hashasa Monim Shal Katoros, Hem Kuvana Keneged Yemos Hama, Shehem Shasa Yamin. Hashasa Monim Shahoy Bekatoros, so these 365 Ramazim al Etzem Amochim Shal Zer Anpin. This is really a reference to the Mochin Azer Anpin. Now, there's a problem over here, and I just went past and was trying to think about Hashas Monim Shahoy Bekatoros Ramazim al Etzem Amochim Shal Zer Anpin. So what you did was you took the 364, which is a corporation of the Shin itself, which represents Elokim, and then you have the 4 Mochin. Exactly how this works, that you're putting together the Mochin with the Elokim, and then you're putting together the 9 with that and the root. He says Etzem and Mochin, but he says that actually, now take that whole number 368. Now you got the number 368, but the last 3 of it are 3 of them don't apply. So he says, why are they don't apply the same way? Hamochin the kata the Ramazah b'shas monim the 360 monim shalokataris shehem kamiz b'shin shehem elokim demilu yudin, which is that sheoda b'gematria kamiz b'shin of a milu shin, and then the milu of the shin heim olim kamiz b'shas monim shalokataris. So we said it before. Hamochim shalogad the shehem arba mochim shehem chach b'bina b'chasim b'chazak gavuros. They could join together with them. Now let's see here, Mochim Shal Godless. So now he's got back the Mochim the Godless. They come into Zer Anpin, and that's what we're doing. I really don't know how we got the Godless over here. Mochim Shal Godless is Zer Anpin Shehein Arba Mochim. Arba Mochim Shehein Choch B'Bina V'Chasada Gavuros, or all of that. Mitztarfim Imon Od. So this, he says, this is the count. So Chabiyachad Haim Olim Kamizbar Shasimonim. So together they come to 365. Shehem B'Kaminyan Yemosachama, which is the same gematria as the days as the days of the year. Aval the Shloshim Monim Yisayim Shal Shasa, but then it's 368, not 365. So you have 3 extra ones. And he says, he says, Monim. He says, he says, Kasher Nisarfim b'Mashasa, if you add them in together with the 368, Haim Olim Shasach Monim, that's how you got the 368. It's another way of, in other words, you're continuing on the concept that we're dealing with godless here. It's really, I have to figure this out. Shloshim monim yiserim shal shalsa monim. So the 3 extra one, hey meramazam al anai de'ima. That's the part that goes with the anai de'ida. The anai de'ima chabechev rak levush hamochin. Avachav einim etzim hamochin mamish. They're not really the mochin. But the chay, so in other words, they're a removed one. Became shloshim monim yiserim al shal sechet monim. Hey, Miramazim al Nai the Iman, so they're referring to a structural element in Ima, Shehem Rak Levushel Mochem Nevadir, only Levushim for the Mochem. But the Chain, so therefore, Hatana, Mechana Chosecha B'Shem Shloshim Monim Yiseirim, it calls them by the name 3 extra ones. So we got the 365, and then turns out there's 3 extra ones. So he's explaining why the Brisa says there's 3 extras. But they're not part of the Ikr, the Keteris, I guess, that's doing the battle against the Klipa. Because they only represent the Nai of Iba, but not on the root of the Mocha themselves. So then he says, like the Venira, the Ani is Daiti Chayim. He says, Maruchu wrote to the Hosi Midilei. He wants to add a little shtickle by himself. So Midilei, Bir Shadach Shamach Rav. So he's explaining, he says, he didn't hear this from the Rav. And he says, what this is what he wants to say. Miramazim alanai the ima, so that's the fact that they're reference to the nai of ima. Hamalbesha says amochim. L'chein biyom Kippurim. So he says, I want to add this little thing in here. He says, L'chein biyom Kippurim daika choya mistamshim b'shlosha hamonim. Okay, we have another little break. This is some days the breaks are short, and they go real fast one after another. Someday we get more time. Okay, here's another break. Okay, there we go. Back in line again. So let's start from the light print on Kuf Lamed Beit. This Chebe Yom Kippurim Daika. Hoyim Mishtamshe B'Shlosh Amonim Yiserim Al Shas Amonim. There, I'm not familiar with this. It must have been somewhere in Rosh Hashanah, but I missed it. So he explains it out. He says, Kamen Shagam B'Yom Kippurim Hal Leos Heim Be'ima Ilua. The Leos are really into Ima Ilua, that level. V'lechein Yeshna Eze Kesher. So therefore, there's some time for shayachas and v'shaychas of bein Yom Kippurim shehal Leos heim be'ima, where the Leos there go to Ima, let's say Ima with Ima. El bein shlosha manim hayiserim she'em ramazim gam l'nai the Ima, which refers into these extra 3, also refers to the nai of Ima. So what was missing in the first part of that was to say that the on Yom Kippur, that we're going up to the Nai of Ima, and of course you're going past, you're trying to get higher to the highest level in Ima, or what does it mean exactly? I don't know. Let's go on to the next one. We have 2 minutes or something like that. So we'll just read this next one. He said, Behina Tzarik Lomer Klupa Shlosha. So this is part of it. So he says, I don't know what he was thinking. So the topic here is Tzarik Lomer Kolufa Velo Kalipa. There's a very strong resemblance between the 2 words. I thought he was going to give me pshat over here. V'lo klipa, ki kach shemo klupa, because this is actually the name of the simamim. So he said, "V'gam sarach lomer kol abraisos akasuv v'chapesidish alana." So therefore, we also have to think, is another thing we're going to get to. There's a bunch of braisos that are put together with the pita megatoras ad pasuk ki kol or v'kol zavash lo zoktiv v'menu. He wants to point that out. Let's go real quickly. We can get to Kuf Lamadal. It's a short piece. He says, "Iris abraisa, tantana rabbana." We start going like Sark and Loma Kulupa Shlosha. You have to say that phrase. Now, so he said, "V'hida ein Loma Klipa Shlosha." So you don't make sure you don't say that. El the Rak Kulupa Shlosha. V'kevet shel Hashem shel Smamen Azeh shebeketaris. Hu kalufa v'lo kalipa. That's just really what it says. So now we're talking about the klipas here. We're talking about the name of an actual samamin. So v'gam sarach lomer kala braisos akasuva b'siddur shalana. So also there's a bunch of braisos that we always have in the siddur. Sarach so he says v'gam sarach lomer kala braisos akasuva b'shalana ad pasav he calls sorvich lavash, etc. Tzarek lahashle v'lomer kol habraisos. The first one is Tana Rabbanan, Pidam B'Kataras. The second one is Rabbi Yishmael ben Rabbi Shmuel ben Gamliel Omer Hatzari. Then they go number Gimel is Tanya Rabbi Nazan Omer Keshuchus Shokek. Then he goes number Daled is Tanya Bar Kafra Omer Achas Shishin. Ad Sof Al Pasuk Shal Ki Kol Soor V'Kol Devash L'Zitikol Pemenu Ishe LaHashem. Let me see where this stops. This stops right here. And so that's going to be that right there. And today is, one Cheshvon, 84. Okay. Morning allergies. Okay, so I put that there. It's messing this up a little bit, don't I? Okay, now we go to Sifra Tzniota.